One common question I get from folks who usually ask about LLMs is through, what is your favorite LLM? What is your favorite way of developing? And I give an answer that is surprising to most people. My answer is yes, all of the above. The reason for that is I do like Claude, I do like Gemini, I do like Cursor. I like all of the above, and they are good for different reasons and for different use cases, for different scenarios, and just how I feel. The whole idea of vibe coding. So let me talk about why I say I use all of the above. And the area I'll focus on today is showing how I use Claude CLI as well as Cursor, which is my current go-to development environment. So let's talk about Claude first. So Claude is very powerful. You can either use it in the paid version or you can use in the or free version that gives you some limiting. Now, what I do like about it is if you come in here and you go on auto mode, it selects the best model for you. It gives you the result. This is what you get on the free version. Now, if you have the paid version, you can go to max mode, and I can tell you the difference in max mode is night and day. The equivalent would be discussing with a high school student about a very deep topic versus discussing with a PhD level person on that same topic. Max mode is PhD level, and auto is like a high school student. They know what they're talking about. They have some basic knowledge, but they don't have that specialized knowledge you need. So that's my personal opinion on this and my personal experience building with it. I tend to be in max mode. Now, max mode is not cheap. It gives you the really powerful models. As a matter of fact, it does give you Claude 4 Sonnet, Opus. It does give you some really good models, even O3, and it figures out how to use those. But it's not cheap. It's just not cheap. So how do I bounce between when I'm using this versus, say, potentially using Claude CLI? So obviously, before we jump into the Claude CLI and to show you how I use both, depending on what I'm doing or how I feel, again, what vibe I am in, is the beauty of Claude here is you have O3, for example, you have Claude, and I think for some reason, Gemini, I was looking for, where's Gemini? You have Gemini 2.5 Pro. So it gives you options. If you go with Claude CLI, Claude is really powerful for coding, no denying that, but then you're limited just to that ecosystem. So there is a case to be made that depending on what you're trying to do, you might want to do it in Cursor, max mode, and get access to all the models. But if you really want Claude CLI, you still can do it. And that's what I'm so happy about. So coming here to terminal, and you can simply say Claude, and that is, voila, that is it. How easy could it get? So this is opening up the Claude CLI for me. Usually I can start developing or doing a framework or straw man of my app or solution here. And then because it's just all code, I can bounce between this and Claude depending on what I'm trying to do. So let's go ahead and proceed. Now it's say, what am I trying to do? This is basic Claude CLI. I can say build an app to calculate revenue in Python, for example. Right, nothing revolutionary about this, just a very basic example to show. So you should go ahead and build those apps. And what I like about Claude CLI is the planning. The good thing is almost most of these LLMs now go through this step of showing you before they build what they plan to do. So in here, it's going to create a Python file. Let's just accept that. So the Python file is created in this directory. It's going to add input validation. It's going to test the application with sample data, and it's going through that. So let's go ahead and accept that. Now, this is coding using Claude CLI. I'm working from the Claude CLI perspective. Now, some people like this approach. Some people don't even do it in Cursor, because you might say, well, why should I even be in Cursor at this point? If I'm just doing it all from a CLI, you could just simply open up your CLI and work from there. And that's totally fine. And I do have a paid version of Claude, just for folks who are curious, Claude CLI. Now, this is good. So assuming that you have a more complicated app, you want to leverage the depth that Claude CLI provides, you certainly can use that. And then once I'm done, I'm like, now I need to switch over to Cursor to use the models. I can simply say, bring this into the context. I'll switch from max mode to auto and say, explain what this does, and then give me 3 suggestions to improve it. By the way, I'm typing, and I know most people will say, "Fro, that's lame. You shouldn't be typing. You should just go in and use something like Super Whisper." Absolutely, I do use that, but for now, just for the sake of the tutorial here, for the sake of the demo, we're gonna type, and so it's explaining what this is doing. It's I think that's complete now. I can say improve it, add a class to calculate ROI as an example. So now, because it has access to the same code base, it's gonna make some changes to this, and it should add a new class to calculate ROI for us. So let this finish and we can validate that. Voila. All right, so now it's done. If we go below, we have a class to calculate ROI, and it's all within that. So let me accept that. So this is now, I've gone from Claude CLI, making changes to this file. Now we've gone into Cursor, we've updated it. Now we can go back here and say do XYZ. Now, doing it with a very basic, and I should submit to this, that doing this with a basic one file class or very trivial thing like this works. But I could imagine if I have an app with lots of files, lots of classes where you want to manage your context window and tokens and such, that this might be tough, because then you would have to make sure you are sending the very specific areas into the context window when prompting for from either the Claude side, Claude CLI, or from the Cursor side. Saying Claude and Cursor back and forth is confusing, so just bear with me. So either going from the Claude side, or actually got me just laughing here, because saying Claude Cursor calculator is that's why doing this demo sometimes is fun actually. Either ways, hopefully the point comes across. Bottom line is you can use both. You can actually use both. And in some cases, you should be using both, because these models, they just accelerate at different velocities. That one morning I'm using Claude and it's just the best thing ever. And the next day I'm like, well, I just forget about that. I need to be using O3. I need to be using Gemini Pro, or I need to be using something else. Especially if you have big context windows, we know Gemini is kind of what you want to do. So I would say set up your system in a way that allows you on options, allows you to make good choices. At least that's my opinion. The moment you limit your options, now you're forced into one way, one pattern, one tool, one. And to me, that always potentially the best thing for you. So just my thoughts. Do you use both, or do you do something else? I'm very curious. Jump into the comment section below. Let me know. I'm very curious as this all evolves. I think this is exciting times, and I'd love to hear what you think about this. As always, this has been Fro here with a quick demo. Thanks for watching and sticking to the end. I will see you in the next demo.